Hugo was still nervous about leaving the station, but he took a deep breath and headed downstairs to the vast subway system that snaked beneath the city like hidden rivers. Hugo entered the lobby where a small woman sat at a big desk. He asked to use the library, and after looking him up and down in a disapproving manner, she said, "No." "No? You're too small and too dirty, and you must be accompanied by an adult," she said. "Goodbye." Hugo just looked at her. He glanced at his hands and his clothes, and he realised that he hadn't thought about the way he looked in a long time. Hugo knew the woman was being unfair, but he didn't know what to do about it. He was trying to figure out what to say when he thought he heard his name being called. "Hugo, is that you?" "Etienne!" Hugo ran to him. "What are you doing here?" "I was just about to ask you the same thing." The small woman at the desk looked at Etienne and said, "You know this filthy child?" "Madame Maria, this is my friend Hugo." She pushed her black-rimmed glasses to the top of her nose and answered the phone, which had just rung. "Sorry about your job at the movie theatre," Hugo said. "It worked out well, actually. When I was fired, I had just started classes here, and they were able to give me some work in the offices. I'm studying to be a cameraman." Hugo glanced at Etienne's eye patch, and Etienne smiled. "Having an eye patch actually makes it easier to look through a camera. I don't have to close one eye like everyone else." Etienne tapped his eye patch and said, "Now tell me, what in the world brings you here?" "I need to find something in the library. Can you help me?" "Follow me," said Etienne. Hugo didn't look at Madame Maria, but he was very happy to walk by her as they headed to the library. The library was on the second floor. It was clean and orderly, with rows of perfectly placed shelves, which seemed untouchable. In the centre of the room was a large painting that caught Hugo's eye. He didn't know what it meant, but he liked it. Etienne helped Hugo navigate the card catalogue so he could find the book he needed and then brought him to the correct shelf. Etienne stood on his toes, pulled the book off the shelf and handed it to Hugo, who sat right where he was and opened it. Etienne sat down next to him. "You know, one of my teachers wrote that book. Will you tell me what you need it for now?" But Hugo couldn't talk. The book was called The Invention of Dreams, the story of the first movies ever made. It was written by René Tabard a year earlier, in 1930. Hugo opened to the beginning of the book and read. In 1895, one of the very first films ever shown was called A Train Arrives in the Station, which was nothing more than what the title suggests, a train coming into a station. But when the train came speeding towards the screen, the audience screamed and fainted because they thought they were in danger of being run over. No one had ever seen anything like it before. Hugo flipped through the pages of the book. There were images of men playing cards, people leaving a factory, each one a still from an early movie. Hugo continued, turning pages, and then he saw what he had been hoping to find. His father's favourite movie was called A Trip to the Moon. The filmmaker Georges Méliès began his career as a magician, and he owned a theatre of magic in Paris. This connection with magic helped him immediately understand what the new medium of film was capable of. He was among the first to demonstrate that film didn't have to reflect real life. He quickly realised that film had the power to capture dreams. Méliès is widely credited with perfecting the substitution trick, which made it possible for things to appear and disappear on screen as if by magic. This changed the face of movies forever. Trip to the Moon, Malay's most famous film, followed a group of explorers as they went to the moon, fought the moon men, and returned home with a captive, to great acclaim. If one day, far in the future, mankind is truly able to fly to the moon, we will have George Malay and the movies to thank for helping us understand that if our dreams are big enough, anything is possible. Unfortunately, George Malay died sometime after the Great War, and many, if not all, of his films are lost. Died? He's not dead, Hugo said out loud. Who isn't dead? Said a teen who had been reading over Hugo's shoulder. George Malay. He runs a toy booth in the train station. A teen laughed. I'm not kidding, Hugo said, and he's Isabel's godfather.